graders, we're here with lesson 51 on multiplying by two-digit numbers. So for two-digit numbers, multiply by the ones and then the tens and then add the products. So for example, if I had 43 times 12, first I'm going to multiply 43 times the ones place in this number. So what is the ones place in that number? Good, it's 2. And then I'm going to multiply it by the tens place. So how many tens are in this number? Good, 1 10. So first I'm going to do 43 times 2, and that'll be 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. And then I'm going to multiply 43 times 10. So I'll have 3 times 0. And remember, we kind of hung those out. I could have hung my 0 out and brought my 0 down. And then I would do 1 times 3, 1 times 4, and I get 430. And then my last step is to add those two products together. These are called partial products, by the way. So 86 plus 43, if I lined them up and added them up, I would get 516. Now let's look at how we can do all of these steps in one line, okay, in one type of problem instead of breaking it apart. So we have it again, 43 times 12. Do you remember where I started? What did I multiply first? Good, the 1. So we're going to do the same thing. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. Notice I multiplied them both by the 2. I ignored my 10. Now it's time to multiply times the tens place. Now because we're multiplying times 10, I'm going to put a 0 here so I know to skip this because my numbers I'm multiplying are all multiplied by 10. And it's going to be in this column lined up with my 1, which is my 10. So don't forget this 0. That is a really, really important placeholder. So now let's multiply our tens. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, now I have my next step. I have my partial products, and now I need to add. So I'm going to add these two lines, and I'm going to add them straight down in their columns. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 3 is 11. 1 plus 4 is 5. So my answer is 516, just like we saw up there. All right, here's a second example. I want you to try this one on your own. If you're not sure how to do it, then rewind the video a little bit and follow the exact same steps that I did over here. And once you finish that, now we're ready for example C. So this one is only a little bit different because we got some money here, which gives us a decimal place as well. But I'm going to follow the same steps. I have 35 cents times 25. So for right now, I'm going to ignore the decimal place and I'm going to ignore the dollar sign. And I'm going to do 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 5 is 15, and I'm going to add the leftover, so 15, 16, 17. 0 times 5 is 0 plus 1. Okay, now I'm going to come down to my tens, so I'm going to be multiplying my 2. What do I need to do first? Good, put in my 0 placeholder. So 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6, 7. 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, and now I'm up to my adding. I'm going to add them straight down. 5, 7, 8. And now my last step is to add in my dollar and cent information. So my cent sign is going to drop all the way down into my answer. And my dollar sign, I'm going to put right there. So my answer is $8.75. Now, we just kind of talked about this, right? So we have 43 times 12 also equals, another way to write that is 43 times, and when a number is right next to parentheses, it means multiplication. If that's confusing to you, you can add a little multiplication sign, is the same thing as 43 times the sum of 10 plus 2. What is 10 plus 2? Good, it's 12. So I broke 12 down into a simple addition problem, 10 plus 2, the 10s plus the 1s. And I got that right there, times 43. This is called distributive property. Whenever we're multiplying a number times a sum, or actually a difference is true too. It's also called distributive property. So when we're multiplying times a sum, we call that distributive. Go to your second sheet. Distributive property. When a sum is multiplied. So you have two ways to solve these types of problems. You can find the sum, what's inside the parentheses, and then multiply, or you can multiply each addend and then add the products. So that's like what we did in the past. We're going to multiply times the 10s and multiply times the 1s and add them. So here we've got an example, example D. So 35 times 20 plus 4. First, let me do it the first way that we said. So we'll find the sum. So first we're going to do 20 plus 4, which is 24, right? So in this problem, I would have 35 times 24. So first I found the sum, 20 plus 4, and wrote 24. And then I'm going to multiply it times the 35. So I have 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12, 13, 14. 0 placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 6, 7, and add 840. Now for the second way to do this, I'm going to rewrite this here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to teach it to you like I teach it to the 7th and 8th graders. So you can multiply this number times each of the addends. So I'm going to draw an arrow and say 35 times 20. 35 times 2 is 70, and then I'm just going to add the extra 0. So I have 700. And then I always take this sign, so plus. And now I'm going to multiply 35 times 4. So what is 35 times 4? Well, 35 times 2 was 70, and 70 times 2 is 140. And now I'm going to add 70 plus 140, and so my answer is 840. Woohoo! The benefit to doing it this way is sometimes you can do it in your head. You don't even have to completely write it out like this. So that's kind of a cool trick. All right, here is our last example, 25 times 10 plus 2. And I bet you can guess what I'm going to say. I want you to try it on your own. Try it both ways. And it's okay if you make a mistake. I'm going to give you a hint. On this side, you're going to do the same thing as here. You'll add 10 plus 2 and multiply it times 25. And on this side, you're going to multiply 25 times 10. And then you're going to add that to 25 times 2. So go ahead and try it, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in class. Go ahead and get to work.